All right, so today we are starting out our OnlyFans list. And for those that don't know what the OnlyFans list is, no, we're not trying to give fantasy wristers here. This is the opposite of the don't eat the cheese list. The cheese list is for the rats that are all about the guys that are ranked too high, that are going to kill you down the road. The OnlyFans list is for the guys that are disrespected. Maybe people will need to be subscribing to their channel a little bit more often, because these are the guys that are going to save your season. These are the guys that are going to make you feel a really happy ending. Let's just call it that. So today we will do the quarterbacks. We'll see how many we get through. We're going to try to drop a video every single day, an article every single day. So today we're doing the quarterbacks. These are the guys that are ranked too low that are going to save your season. Couple things that I want to go over before I go over the list. Number one, what you should be asking yourself every single year before your fantasy draft is, where do I think these players will be ranked next season? Because next year is the correct answer for this year. That's the kind of brain games that I play in my head to try to get the answer correct. That's what you should be doing. And number two, this is for 2 quarterback leagues. If you're not doing a 2 quarterback league, you're a complete and utter noob, and I don't take you seriously. There are 32 starting quarterbacks. Again, the idea that you're going to use 10 or 12 in a singular week is just nonsense. It's just amateur hour, cookie cutter nonsense. So I don't have time for those people. This is for 2 quarterback leagues, people that are starting 24 quarterbacks in a week for your league. So that's what we're looking at, maybe more depending on how many teams that you have. So that's the idea behind it. Who are the guys that are ranked too low? Who are the guys that are going to give you a happy ending for your fantasy year? That's what we're looking for today. I don't have all these typed out, but we'll go over it. Number one, Ryan Tannehill. That's going to be an answer that surprises you. I understand that. But I think he's ranked too low. And depending on how your league works, QB 26? QB 26 is really low. QB 26 is really low. I think he can actually, where Richardson is, and I think he can be up here in this range. And I think he can help you. Here's a couple reasons why. Tannehill is fighting for his job. There is no denying that. And there is very much a chance that he loses his job. But last season was about as worse as it gets. I just don't think 13 touchdowns is going to repeat itself. Like, that was his worst number since his rookie year. What are the odds that he's going to be that bad again? And I think part of the reason why he was that bad is, well, when he had A.J. Brown, he was throwing for 33 touchdowns or 22 touchdowns. And when he had A.J. Brown, even in the past, he was picking up some rushing totals. Those rushing totals kind of disappeared. And maybe you say, well, he's starting to get old. Those aren't going to be there anymore. Maybe. But maybe conventional wisdom would tell you that instead of having 98 yards and 2 touchdowns, maybe he has 150 yards and 4 touchdowns. I think Ryan Tannehill bounces back at least a little bit. Let's say he throws for 21 touchdowns instead of 13. He's helping you in fantasy. If we just go to fantasy finishes from the year prior. So fantasy finishes last year, I will give you last year, he was down here. QB 27, not good. But let's just go to the year prior. The year prior, he was QB 12. That was with A.J. Brown on the roster. Now, I'm not going to suggest that DeAndre Hopkins is A.J. Brown. But last year, he didn't have anybody to throw the fucking ball to. Nobody. Here's a fun stat for you. Before they signed DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Vrabel was the leader in touchdown receptions. That's a real stat. Last year, like the guys coming into the year, before they signed Hopkins, Mike fucking Vrabel would have led the team in career touchdowns receptions. No wonder why he sucked last year. What did Treylon Burks give you? I tried to tell you Treylon Burks wasn't ready to play. Okay, now, let's fast forward. They have DeAndre Hopkins. He's more likely to be up here. I'm not saying he'll be QB 12, but the idea that he's QB 26, I think he's really low. And what's the worst case scenario? Okay, maybe eventually he does lose his job. But for at least the first 10 weeks, he should be up here. I would have to think he's going to be up here. I don't even love Ryan Tannehill. I don't. But based off of past performance, this is about as worse as it gets. And the idea that he's going to replicate that, maybe this is who he is now. He's starting to age. I understand that. But again, last year, they had nobody to throw the ball to. Now they have Hopkins. Hopkins is a game changer, whether you want to admit it or not. I still think Hopkins is a dumb fuck for signing with Tennessee. But he's on the roster now, and he can still play. And now that they do have Hopkins, I think it opens up more of an opportunity for Okonkwo, who's a nice little young tight end that I think will take a step forward. Now there's less pressure on Treylon Burks to be the guy. He'll never be the guy. That A.J. Brown trade was still dumb. It cost John Robinson his job. You can go read the site. I was all over it. Fuck John Robinson. He's a dumb fucking idiot. He deserved to be fired. But this idea that Tannehill's going to be at 13 touchdowns, that's low, man. That's really low. Like, even if he gets to 19, he's still going to be better than this. So those are my thoughts on Tannehill. I'm not rushing to go get Ryan Tannehill. I'm not saying that you should sell the farm to go get Ryan Tannehill. But if you're, in need of a quarterback and you're running out of options, I think you can do worse. This one's going to surprise you. Yes, Mac Jones. And again, we go to fantasy finishes for last season. Mac Jones was fucking terrible. And we were all over it. He was QB 23, so you couldn't really ever use him in a 2-quarterback league. I mean, he didn't help you at all. If Andy Dalton is ahead of you on this list, it ain't good. So Mac Jones didn't help you. But again, we have to remember, and last year we told you not to pick Mac Jones. Chickster was all over it even more than I was. But credit to Chickster. I give him credit when he deserves it. I think everybody on the site was in agreement. Don't take Mac Jones in fantasy. This year, he's being ranked lower than he finished last season. He's being ranked as QB 30. Last year, he finished as QB 23. Here's the problem. It's not really even a problem. Well, it is a problem, but the problem's been kind of solved. Okay, let's just go to Mac Jones. Mac Jones threw for 14 touchdowns last year. As a rookie, he threw for 22. What was the main difference? Well, in 2021, his play caller was Josh McDaniels. In 2022, his play caller was a defensive coordinator, Matt Patricia. Now his play caller 2023 is Bill O'Brien. And I understand that fantasy rankers don't factor in coaching, but you should, because coaching matters. Like, go look at the Saints. When Alvin Kamara played for Sean Payton, he's really good. When Alvin Kamara played for Dennis Allen, he's not that good. So coaching matters. And if you don't understand that by now, we don't really have a starting point for you. So if rookie Mac Jones threw for 22 touchdowns, and let's go to fantasy finishes from the year prior. Again, let's go to 2021. Fantasy finishes from the year prior. Okay, Mac Jones is quarterback 18. So that means if you're in a 10 quarterback league or a 10 team league, Mac Jones was a viable QB2 that you could plug into your lineup. I believe that Mac Jones will be a viable QB2 that plugs into your lineup. And if he's in the 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 range, I wouldn't be surprised at all. And the best part about it is you don't have to spend anything on him. He's basically free. He's right here with Desmond piece of shit Ritter, who sucks. I think Mac Jones can play. I'm not saying Mac Jones is a Hall of Famer, but I think Mac Jones has talent. He's one of the most efficient passers in the history of college football, his final season at Alabama. Do I think he's going to be worse than this? Because this, again, let's just go back. What he did with Matt Patricia got him a little bit outside of that list. Didn't help you. Was a fantasy bust, right? But he wasn't like Matt Ryan terrible, who I had on the cheese list, Matt Ryan from last year. He wasn't Matt Ryan terrible. But just taking Matt Patricia out of the room, you're telling me he can't be here? You're telling me, and Murray is mostly because he missed how many fucking games, but you're telling me he can't be where Carr was? I think he can. I think he can. And I think this Patriots team, it's a loaded AFC East. They're going to have to throw. This isn't like the old days where, Bill Belichick had the number one rated special teams and defense, and you could really run your way to wins. There's going to be times where this Patriots team's trailing in the fourth quarter. They need to throw. Bill O'Brien wants to throw. He's almost like, I mean, some of the things at Alabama that he did, he was blamed because he would throw in the red zone and Bryce Young would make a dumb pick in the red zone. I think they're going to throw when they're in the red zone. They signed Mike Gesicki, who's a red zone target. They add Juju Smith-Schuster, who I don't love, but I guess it's better than what they had a year ago. Tyquan Thornton is a young receiver who was never going to help you as a rookie, but maybe in year 2, he gives you something. And you have Ramondre Stevenson, who you can dump the ball off, and he'll get you some yards. So to just say that Mac Jones is QB 30, QB 30 is low, man. And I understand why he's ranked this low. But they should understand that Matt Patricia isn't calling the offensive plays this year. And regardless of what you think of New England, I don't think New England's going to be very good. But QB 30, they're going to be fucking like, you tell me they're a 4-win team? It's just not possible with Belichick. Belichick's going to get them to 6, 7, 8 wins just because he's Belichick. So I don't know. QB 30 is bad, man. Like Trey Lance, you're telling me Trey Lance is a couple spots lower? He's a 3rd-string quarterback. Listen, if Mac Jones is going to be for free, I'll take him. That's just all I'll say on that, especially in best ball leagues. Like if Mac Jones is going to be for free in a best ball league, you're telling me there aren't going to be a couple weeks where he is a fill-in starter in a 2-quarterback league where he's free on bye weeks? I'll take him. This is another one. I'm just, going with whoever starts. I think it's going to be Purdy. I mean, Kyle Shanahan said the other day that he thinks Sam Darnold could be Steve Young. So I wouldn't be surprised if Darnold gets in there eventually. Who knows? Either way, this ranking here for Brock Purdy at 25 is fucking criminal. It's criminal. How are you ranking him 25? Jackson just did a post. I'll link it in the article that you can click when you read that. Brock Purdy, in the games that he started, he was QB7. QB7 in the games that he started last year. QB7. Why is he ranked 25? I don't really understand it. And I've had this conversation with a couple people in my league. I've asked them throughout the year last year. Like, let's go back to last year. I think I texted this question a million times. How much money is Brock Purdy going for in the auction league? I got a couple answers that were $30, $40, $50. Okay, in our league, I think he went for 11. I can promise you that doesn't happen without the elbow injury. And if we're going to use the elbow injury as an excuse to rank him 25, I'll fucking take him. We can go back to fantasy finishes from a year ago. Okay, yeah, 5-0 starts, 5-0 in his starts, 13 touchdowns. Okay, so he's getting you a little bit more than 2 touchdowns a game. I'm sorry, but at QB 25, I will fucking take that. At QB 25, if he's giving me more than 2 touchdowns a game, where do I sign? We're also talking about a team that's really good, that's going to put up points. His running back is Christian McCaffrey, who's going to get receiving touchdowns. Deebo Samuel keeps sending Kyle Shanahan shirtless pics. He's in the best shape of his life. You still have one of the best tight ends in the league, George Kittle. I don't like Ayuk, but Ayuk's getting better. What other situation would you want to be in? What other situation would you want to be in? So, yes, I will take Brock Purdy at QB 25, which is basically for free. If you're telling me he's not good enough to start in a 2-quarterback league, I vehemently disagree. Kyler Murray. Nobody's going to agree with this, but that's okay. We'll see how many games Kyler Murray misses. All I know is when Kyler Murray plays, he's basically a top 5 fantasy quarterback. Let's just go back to the year before, because the year before he was healthy. He was QB 10 and he missed 3 weeks. Overall points, he was QB 4. So you're going to rank Kyler Murray at 23. I'll take him. And here's the greatest part about it is I don't always love having guys on bad teams. But Kyler Murray, where do I sign? That Cardinals team is going to be dog shit, which means he's going to be playing hero ball. And I'm fine with Kyler Murray playing hero ball. You want to say Kyler Murray's playing hero ball? That's fine. I will take him in fantasy. This is fantasy football. You can tell me he's not a franchise quarterback all you want. But the more likely scenario is he's going to throw for 25 touchdowns and he's going to pick up yardage on the ground. Okay, you want to say maybe that comes down a little bit because of the injury. Fine, whatever. Let's say he rushes for 423 yards and 5 touchdowns. Again, that was good enough for QB4 or whatever. The year before, let's just go back to the year before, and he probably won't do this because his team's bad. But the year before, he was QB2. There's no singular piece of evidence that points to Derek Carr being a better fantasy quarterback than Kyler Murray. It's basically never happened. I don't have an answer for you. I don't. Why is Russell Wilson ranked 6 spots higher than Kyler Murray? I understand that Sean Payton matters, and I understand that Russell Wilson will probably have a bounce back year because of Sean Payton. He ain't giving you what Kyler Murray gives you on the ground. Daniel Jones is ranked 12th because of what he gives you on the ground. In reality, where Fields is ranked is what Murray can do. We've seen it in the past. You are getting him for free. Why wouldn't you pick him? Now, in my fantasy league, he was taken. He was already signed from the year before. But if he would have been available for like $15, that's the biggest steal in fantasy. You're basically, okay, yes, there is an odds-on chance that he gets hurt. When he plays, he's one of the 5 best quarterbacks in fantasy. Why is he being ranked 23rd? Okay, even if we're factoring the injury stuff aside, he should still be 15. Again, we're talking about a Cardinals team, and this isn't like a guy that can't throw the ball. We're talking about a guy that's posted decent throwing numbers. These aren't Justin Fields' bad passing numbers. He's giving you touchdowns. He almost threw for 4,000 yards. Close. Kind of. Why can't he do that again? And again, we're talking about a Cardinals team. That's a team that's going to throw the ball a lot because they're going to be losing a lot. I get Kyler Murray in shootout mode. I'll happily take him. Next, Bryce Young. I don't normally pick rookie quarterbacks. Rookie running backs, I'll take those. Rookie receivers, sometimes. Rookie quarterbacks is almost always a no for me. Almost always a no. In this instance, I think I like Bryce Young. I think I like Bryce Young at QB 24, mostly because I think he's probably the rare exception in the fact that what he is probably what he will be. What I mean by that is what you see next year is probably going to be 90% of the player that you see over his career. He's ready to play right now. He won the Heisman Trophy 2 years ago. But his numbers took a little bit of a step back last year at Alabama because his weapons took a major step back from last year. So I think he's ready to play right now. They gave him a grown-up play caller with Frank Reich. And all the reports out of camp, he's already been named the starting quarterback. None of the other rookie quarterbacks have been named the starter when it would be easy to do so. Richardson's probably going to be named the starter, but he hasn't been yet. I would assume that they're going to make him at least play through preseason to earn it. CJ Stroud, he hasn't been named the starter yet. I'm sure he will be, but he hasn't yet. Day one, they basically said, oh, yeah, first practice, he's our starter. He's ready to play, is the point. So, and I think the weapons in Carolina, I mean, let's just talk about it really quickly. Don't need to pull up the depth chart. You got DJ Chark, Adam Thielen. They just took Mingo, Terrace Marshall. They have bodies. You don't want to say they're not number ones. I agree with you. But they at least have bodies. And even last year, they didn't have a tight end, like at all. Tommy Tremble was a blocking tight end who couldn't run routes. And they had Thomas, the old Indiana tight end who can't run routes either. I hate Hayden Hurst. When the Ravens took Hayden Hurst, I think I flipped the couch. But he's at least better than what they had a year ago in terms of catching the football. So I don't worry about his weapons. Miles Sanders is another guy that can at least catch. So excuse me one second. Sorry about that, Ben. But yeah, I think Bryce Young can be in this range in terms of helping you for fantasy. Like, to be completely honest with you, I think he'll probably outscore Geno Smith. I don't think 30 touchdowns is a lot, man. 30 touchdowns is a lot, and I'm not denying that. I think he's got a chance to get close. I really do. I think he's ready to play right now. I think the Carolina Panthers should be favorites in that NFC South. I've been saying that. Their defense is really good. They're going to get stops and get off the field. I'm sure that they don't want Bryce Young being hero ball. I think they trust him more than any other rookie quarterback day one. And I think he will be good enough to be in this tier to where he is usable as a QB2 for fantasy. So that's why he's on the list. Jordan Love. I'm sure a lot of people remember that read this site know that I was against the Jordan Love pick. I do this for my draft stuff when it comes to quarterbacks, highly rated quarterbacks in 3 different tiers. Quarterbacks that I think can win the Super Bowl, quarterbacks that I think will be a bust, and quarterbacks that I view as a wild card. And the wild card quarterbacks over the years that I have put in that list, you can go fact check me if you want to. Mahomes is probably the most infamous example of a wild card. I had Watson as the top quarterback, and then Mahomes as the wild card, and then Trubisky as the bust. That's, quarterback, it's easy and it's hard to predict at the same time in terms of future success, because who your coach is and who your environment is matters so much. And another perfect example. I had this is just to expose myself, because I'm not perfect on any of this stuff. I'd like to think that I'm 98.7%, and the people that read this site know that, but I am wrong sometimes. I still think Sam Darnold would have been good if he wasn't drafted by Adam Gase and the Jets. I love Sam Darnold coming out of that draft, but like a perfect example, Josh Allen, who I listed as Super Bowl winner, but a little bit of a wild card, kind of a tweener, and he worked. So when it comes to Jordan Love, I listed him like, okay, I listed Josh Allen as can win the Super Bowl franchise quarterback, but wild card. On the higher end of the wild card, I listed Jordan Love as he's got a shot, but a lot of things are going to have to go right for him on the lower end of the wild card. A lot of things have gone right for him. I like Matt LaFleur. I think Matt LaFleur can call plays. This guy just spent 3 years learning from Aaron Rodgers. I can promise you Aaron Rodgers isn't Aaron Rodgers if he doesn't spend all that time developing behind Brett Favre. Anybody can go and look at this. Anybody that wants to go watch Cal film on Aaron Rodgers, I encourage you to do so. I'll never forget. I think it was 2005. I was a little rat kid, but I'll never forget watching Aaron Rodgers and Marshawn Lynch at Cal. This fucker he held the ball like this. You can go watch the film on Aaron Rodgers at Cal. He was not ready to play. He would hold the ball up here, and it was a weird throwing motion, and he just needed time. Jordan Love, he has off the field stuff. He's a little bit of a knucklehead. He was not ready to play. His footwork is terrible. The way he bends his knees is not great. But if you watch actually that brief stint that he played last year, looked like a totally different guy. And I'm kind of buying in that he can be a little bit of a difference maker. Again, I was not a fan of this pick, but credit to Green Bay. I still don't think he's going to be like a Super Bowl winner, but I think he can be a B- level starting quarterback. And if he's a B- level starting quarterback, they can win the division. And if they win the division, he's going to be good in fantasy. If you're winning the division and putting up points, your quarterback's probably got some value in fantasy. And I think that's the case for Jordan Love. Jordan Love is QB 21. So a lot of people, and he's gone up a lot since when I started the draft of this post, he was down here. He's gone up a little bit in the tiers. We'll see where that is before the year. He could drop down, he can go up. I think he should probably be in this range. I think he can help you in terms of fantasy. I think Green Bay, we can say whatever we want about Green Bay. I don't think their weapons are that bad. Christian Watson was fucking good last year. I think he's going to take another step forward. Romeo Doubs had a pretty good year. They just drafted 2 tight ends. They probably have one of the best running back rooms in the league. You got Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon, both. And again, your running backs help you. Your running backs help you. Your running backs help you. It's got to be stressed. Your running backs help you. AJ Dillon had 43 targets last year. How many running backs had 43 targets last year while splitting time? He was the second running back. It's just very rare. So they got 2 running backs that can catch. I don't think their weapons are bad. They're young, yes. They're unproven, yes. But are they bad players? Not what I saw out of Christian Watson. I don't think he's going to be a bad player. Not what I saw out of Romeo Dobbs. I don't think he's going to be a bad player. I don't love Jaden Reed, but if he's your third guy and he's your deep threat, I think it probably helps the other two guys. You just drafted 2 rookie tight ends, and rookie tight ends take a while. I understand that, but Musgrave's probably the best tight end that Green Bay's had in 10 years. I think they're going to be better than people think. I really do. And their defense is pretty good, but is what it is. I think so. QB 21 is fine. I don't have an issue with that ranking. I'm sure I'd probably rank him around this area too. I understand that, but I think there's a chance that he is better than people think he is. I think there's a real chance the Packers win that division. Just saying. All right. Next, Kenny Pickett. Again, I don't have all these written. The article will be done by the time I just put a couple spark notes in there to refresh my brain. Kenny Pickett is ranked 22. I love some Kenny Pickett stock. The only thing that I'm worried about is the play caller. I don't believe in Matt Canada. I don't think anything that Matt Canada did a year ago suggests that he's ready to be a real play caller. So from that perspective alone, I fully understand why Kenny Pickett is down here. However, let's just talk about it. All right. So Kenny Pickett, one of the most underrated things about Kenny Pickett is he can kind of run the ball. He had 3 rushing touchdowns, 237 yards. That was in 12 starts. I think he is the most underappreciated pure athlete at the quarterback position. Like if you go look at some of the runs that he had at Pitt, he can run the ball. He's actually kind of like Daniel Jones on the ground, except I think he's going to be a way better passer. And if we look at where Daniel Jones is ranked, he's ranked 12th. Again, we do this exercise in our brains. Where do I think Kenny Pickett will be ranked a year from now? Where on this list? Let's pretend that this list says 2024. Where do I think Kenny Pickett will be ranked? I can promise you, a year ago, nobody thought Daniel Jones would be ranked 12th. That's what I think could happen to Kenny Pickett. I don't like his play caller at all, and I totally understand that. But over a full stretch of starts, because last year the Trubisky thing was a fucking joke. I ripped Tomlin's asshole for that move, and in fact, it's probably the reason why they missed the playoffs. They just gave away games with Trubisky. Should have been deemed that I actually would have fired Tomlin for that fucking decision, but be that as it may, he's back, is what it is. I think this number here could go up. I think this number could go up, and I think it might be higher than what you think that it could be because he is such an underappreciated athlete at the quarterback position. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he rushes for 500 yards. If he rushes for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, he's going to be one of the best fantasy quarterback steals available. He surprises you. Nobody would think that Kenny Pickett could run like that. But as a rookie, under less than ideal circumstances, under not a full season of starting, as a rookie, he rushed for a bunch of yards and he kind of helped you. As a passer, I anticipate him taking a major step forward. I think that touchdown number will probably come in the 22 range, 24 range. If he throws for 24 touchdowns, if he rushes for 500 yards, he could be a top 10 fantasy quarterback. On paper, Steelers should be better. Left tackle, upgrade, Broderick Jones. We'll see if they play him at left tackle. Who knows there? But Broderick Jones, big upgrade on the offensive line. I like what Pittsburgh has done in terms of their overall roster. Hopefully Najee Harris coming into last year, he had that foot injury. Hopefully that's been taken care of. Who knows on that front? He can still catch the ball. Jaylen Warren might be a little bit of a gem for him. And the receivers that they have on the team, Deontay Johnson, George Pickens. They got 2 good tight ends now. Darnell Washington, they're like, you know what? We probably would rather have him develop. He might be even if he's a blocker, that's more protection. So Pat Freiermuth, pretty good. I'm just saying. They brought in Allen Robinson. Will he give you something? He'd give you more than Chase Claypool gave you, maybe. So what are we looking for? Who cares? Who cares if you miss? Who cares? this is the point that should be stressed too. Who cares if some of these guys flame out? Who cares if you're wrong about some of these guys? What matters is you got to throw darts. You got to throw darts with the opportunity that they can be up here. That's what you're looking for. You're going to be wrong on a couple of these guys. That's why they're ranked here. Who fucking cares? The upside, the possible outcome. What you want to do is avoid opportunities. Hey, I think there's a pathway for Pickett to be up here. So I'll throw the dart. Maybe it doesn't happen. Who cares? There's another quarterback down here that I can probably get as a third guy. So the range of outcomes here for Kenny Pickett, there is a possible avenue to where he's actually up here based on the rushing, based on the chance that he'll probably be a better thrower. So, and again, where will he be ranked in 2024? Probably not where he is. That's the correct answer. Tua. I like Tua. In fact, if I just go to my team, you can look at it if you want to. I spent a lot of money on Tua. And guess what? I think 11's too low. We'll see on Dalvin Cook. This is being recorded before he signs. Who knows if that happens, even if he doesn't sign. If we just go to fantasy finishes last year, can we do that? Let's just go to fantasy finishes last year. I understand that he was hurt, but in terms of points per game, he's right here, man. He was 15 on total points, and he missed so much time. 15 on total points. So he was 2, 3, 4, doesn't count. 5, 6, doesn't count. 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so he was a top 10 fantasy quarterback. He's being ranked 11th, which I think is fair. But he's basically being ranked here because of the injury stuff. You're giving Tua a second year in this offense. We're giving Tua, oh, by the way, our defense is way better now. Oh, by the way, we're going to actually get stops and not be on the field for 800 minutes. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle is going to explode this year. I think Miami could be pretty good. And I'm a believer in this Mike McDaniel. The plays that he was drawing up last year, you saw the flashes. To me, I think they should be able to build upon what they did last year. Good coaching matters. Good coaching just matters. If his coach was Flores, I'd tell you not to take him. His coach is McDaniel. And a guy like that who's so smart at calling shit, I have a hard time imagining they can't build upon what happened last year. Just keep the guy healthy, man. Just keep the guy healthy. I'm willing to take the shot. If he was ranked up here with the health concerns, I'd get it. But the fact that he's ranked here, I'm sorry, but I'm just not taking Prescott or Jones or Cousins or Gino ahead of him. Because I think he can be here if healthy. And he's proven that he can be. So I think Miami could be very, 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 very good. I love his weapons. Like, he doesn't even have to try that hard. Jalen Waddle's going to take one to the house. So I like Tua, and I will happily take him this year. Last year, I actually sold Tua. I sold him for a rookie pick. So I had Tua. I sold him. I just felt like Tua was going to take a step forward, but was he going to win you a fantasy league? This year, I think he can. That's the difference. And my number one person on the OnlyFans list this year, number one is Trevor Lawrence. Again, we have to trick our brain. This is the most important part of fantasy. Don't be an idiot. You have to trick your own brain. Where do I think Trevor Lawrence will be ranked when this list says 2024? I can promise you, you'll never get him at QB8 again. You'll never get him at QB8 again. I think Jacksonville showed what's coming. They were a playoff team a year ago after being the worst team in the league. Again, we talk about building. Theoretically, this is year 2 for Doug Peterson. This should be easier. Now they have Calvin Ridley, year 2. This is Trevor Lawrence is going to fucking explode. I think Jacksonville might be an AFC title game team. They gave Kansas City a run for their money while Kansas City was coming off a bye, while Jacksonville had this emotional game against the Chargers where they really had no business winning. They gave Kansas City a run for their money. Say what you want. I think Trevor Lawrence, I have him ranked third on my list behind. I have Allen first, who Allen has just. Can we just talk about that? Like, I understand. I understand. I understand. I understand that Mahomes was first last year, but the year before, Allen was first and Mahomes was down here. Mahomes, when he wins the Super Bowl, drops a little bit because that 2020 season coming into 2021. Okay, so now he has got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. He's number one. I would say that Allen should probably be ranked ahead of him, who has been one or two, just more reliable in terms of being a clear-cut option. But that's a side note. Fantasy. I think Trevor Lawrence will be here. And last year he was QB8. So why the fuck are you ranking him based off of last year? That answer is wrong. Again, we have to trick our brains. Where will he be ranked in 2024? That is the correct answer for this year. This year, I think he's third. We'll see. I could be wrong about that, but there's just no fucking chance that I'm taking Fields ahead of him. It's the same draft class. The same draft class. Since when did Fields become a better player? And I know it's fantasy. It's a different ball game. You're not convincing me that he's better than Trevor Lawrence in any aspect because he can run the ball too. Let's just go to that. You're telling me Lawrence is going to pick up rushing yards? Because I vehemently disagree with you on that as well. Last year, he had 25 touchdowns, took a major step up from his rookie season. I think that number is going to come in at about 36, but I think that number is going to climb again. And if we just look at his rushing stuff, he had 5 rushing touchdowns last year and 291 yards. Okay, so he's in this, let's call it 300 range, 300 rushing yards. Let's say he gets 4 of them. And now I'm adding 36 touchdowns. He's going to be up here. You can rank him 8th. Listen, if you're going to give me Trevor Lawrence for pennies on the dollar based off of where he's going to finish this year, I'll take him. Daniel Jones is ranked 9th. It shouldn't be a toss-up. It shouldn't be, well, you can just wait on Daniel Jones. No. No. Oh, no, that's the finishes. Sorry. I get the Watson intrigue. I understand it, but no. No. So, again, trick your brain. Where is he going to be ranked in 2024? That is the correct answer for 2023. If you do that, you'll have a lot of success. I just don't think that you'll ever get Lawrence at QB8 again. I don't. So, that's your list. Let me know what you think. Again, I don't know why people don't do this more often. You got to trick your brain. The perfect example was last year. Oh, well, Jonathan Taylor, he finished as the number 1 running back, so we'll rank him number 1. It's just never how it works. It's never how it works. You have to rank them based off of where you think they will finish in 2024. Not even finish. Where do you think they will be ranked in your fantasy draft next year? That's the correct answer for this year. So I'm very bullish on Jacksonville. I think Calvin Ridley's going to explode. I mean, last year he had 25 touchdowns with just Christian Kirk. I'm adding Ridley to the fold. Year 2 with Doug P. I think he's going to throw for 35, 36. I wouldn't be surprised if he hits 40. So I think Jacksonville's going to be really good. So that's your OnlyFans list. Let me know. Make sure to comment. Again, trick your brain. You are smart. Your thoughts are valid, but you have to understand that the information that your brain is giving you is wrong. Be ahead of the curve. Always ahead of the curve. So we'll see you next time. Peace out, Girl Scout.